The night sky over the mining outpost of Xerrian 6 was a swirl of indigo dust clouds, illuminated by the pale shimmer of two moons. Liam Corbett sat outside his ramshackle quarters, his boots resting on a crate, sipping from a tin mug of bitter caf. It was quiet. Too quiet. The usual hum of mining drones was absent. Power rationing had left the place nearly dead. That's when he heard it, a soft, pitiful whimper. At first, he thought it was just one of the settlement's stray scavenger hounds. But the sound came again, sharper this time, with a note of panic in it. Liam set his mug down, grabbed his torchlight, and followed the noise toward the edge of the perimeter wall, where the dense desert weeds grew. There, half hidden beneath a collapsed supply net, was a creature. It was small, barely the size of a human toddler, but its skin shimmered faintly in the moonlight, shifting in iridescent hues of green and silver. Its large black eyes blinked slowly, weakly. The creature's thin arms clutched at its belly, and its breathing was shallow. Liam froze. He knew exactly what it was. A Xerrian cub. Every miner on Xerrian 6 knew the warnings. Don't interfere with Xerrian young. Their mothers will kill to reclaim them. The Xerrian were fierce, territorial predators, part humanoid, part reptilian, capable of tearing through steel doors with their talons. But the cub looked helpless. Its ribs were showing through its translucent skin, and its eyes were glazed with hunger. Liam could feel its weakness radiating off it like heat from a dying fire. He glanced back at the settlement walls. No one was watching. "Hell," he muttered under his breath. "I'm not leaving you out here." Scene 2. Bringing the cub inside. It took effort to free the cub from the net without cutting it. The moment Liam touched it, it whimpered and curled into a ball, trembling. Its skin was surprisingly warm, almost feverish. Liam carried it inside his quarters and laid it gently on his cot. He rummaged through his food stores, finding only a few ration bars and a sealed pouch of protein broth. The cub sniffed the air, then let out a soft, pleading chirp. "All right, little one," Liam said, breaking the seal and pouring the broth into a shallow dish. The cub hesitated for a moment, then pounced, lapping at the liquid with desperate speed, its small claws scraping the bowl. Liam watched as its color brightened slightly, the dull green shifting toward a more vibrant hue. "You were starving," he murmured. The cub looked up at him mid-sip, its gaze oddly intelligent, almost grateful. Liam knew this was dangerous. The Xerrian didn't trade, didn't parley. They tolerated the human presence only because the mining zones avoided their sacred hunting grounds. But a lone cub this close to the outpost meant trouble. And trouble was exactly what came knocking. Scene 3. The arrival. It started with a low, resonating rumble that made the walls vibrate. The sound wasn't mechanical, it was alive. The cub froze, its frills tightening against its neck. Its eyes darted to the door. Liam's stomach sank. He stepped to the small viewport and peered outside. At first, all he saw was the dust swirling in the twin moonlight. Then, movement. A massive silhouette emerged from the haze, walking with predatory precision. The figure stepped into full view, and Liam's breath caught. A Xerrian female. She was at least 2 heads taller than him, her scaled armor glinting like obsidian. Her eyes glowed faintly gold, scanning the outpost with predatory sharpness. In one clawed hand, she carried a long, bone-forged spear. Her other hand was curled into a fist. When her gaze landed on his quarters, her nostrils flared. The cub made a soft, almost involuntary trill. Liam's pulse spiked. He wasn't sure whether to hide or meet her outside. But hiding from something like her was a joke. If she wanted in, the steel walls wouldn't stop her. Scene 4. Confrontation. A deep, guttural voice echoed outside his door. It wasn't human, but the translator unit embedded in the door frame caught the meaning. "You have what is mine. Bring it to me." Liam's grip tightened on the handle of his sidearm. He didn't want to fight. The cub had been alone, dying, he couldn't just leave it. But if he handed it over without explanation, would it survive? He opened the door slowly. The Xerrian mother stood there like a living storm, her golden eyes locking on him. Up close, her presence was overwhelming. Heat radiated from her scaled skin. Her breath carried the metallic tang of ozone. "You took my offspring," she said, her voice more precise now, either through her own effort or the translator's fine-tuning. "I found your cub trapped," Liam said evenly. "Starving. I fed it." The Xerrian's eyes flicked past him, spotting the cub behind his legs. The little one let out a high-pitched cry and darted toward her. She knelt instantly, gathering it into her arms. Her claws were careful, protective, not harming. The cub buried its head against her chest, and she made a low, rhythmic sound, almost like a purr. For a moment, Liam thought it was over, that she would turn and leave. Then her gaze snapped back to him. Scene 5, the demand. "You touched it. Fed it. This is a debt." Liam frowned. "Debt?" "In Xerrian law," she said slowly, as if explaining to a child, "to save the life of one's offspring binds the parent to the savior until the debt is balanced." He blinked. "I didn't do it for a debt. Just didn't want it to die." Her frills twitched in what might have been amusement, or warning. "Intent does not matter. Balance must be restored." Before Liam could reply, she straightened to her full height. "I will hunt for you until the moons change. No harm will come to you while I owe this life debt." The settlement gates had drawn a small crowd now, miners whispering in disbelief at the sight of a Xerrian standing this close without violence. Liam felt the weight of her words settle over him. "I appreciate it, but that could make things complicated around here." She tilted her head. "Then you will be safer. That is not complication. That is law." Scene 6, days under her watch. True to her word, the Xerrian, who Liam learned was named Xerrian, stayed close to the outpost. She hunted the deadly glass lizards that roamed the dunes, leaving their meat at his door. She chased off scavenger raiders without a word. At night, the cub, now healthier, would wander into Liam's quarters, curling up beside the small heating unit. Liam started calling it Flicker for the way its skin pulsed with light when it was happy. The miners kept their distance, both awed and wary. No one dared cross Liam while Xerrian was near. And yet, despite the silent protection, he could feel her watching him, not as a predator, but as someone weighing his worth. Scene 7, the test. On the 10th day, trouble came from the sky. A sandstorm rolled over the horizon faster than the warning sensors could track. Liam barely had time to seal his windows when a violent crash shook the ground. A mining shuttle, caught in the storm, had gone down near the ravine. Without hesitation, Xerrian appeared at his door. "Come." They pushed through the roaring winds together, the cub tucked securely in her sling. The shuttle was half buried in sand, smoke trailing from its engines. Inside, a miner was pinned under twisted metal, gasping for air. Xerrian didn't wait for instructions. With a single heave, she tore the debris aside, freeing the man. Liam hauled him out while Xerrian shielded them from flying debris with her own body.